So I just want to give my take on this. It's real quick. Because I've heard people talk about this and I realize they're missing something. You know, they keep taking this back to the serpent in the Garden of Eden. This song by the Castrated Horseman. The symbolisms, they're getting caught up in that, obviously, because that's what grabs your attention, The people in blue, where we've seen that? Asia, right? Specifically India, right? But the fact that he goes from being humanoid to a serpent, I was like, give it some time. Let's see if somebody else will talk about it, because I'm not quick to rush into talking about these things, but we've seen it before, and I'm not hearing anybody bring it up. So what if this is not about the serpent in the garden, the way that they keep trying to push? What if this is about something else? Right? See here? They're going to take this back to the Garden of Eden and the serpent. There's a symbolism, right? I don't think that's what it's about. I think it's about something else. Watch. Because the serpent in the garden had legs, right? Watch. And of course she brings up, this is not the first time she's used the serpent. There's the blood moon, which I thought was interesting because I've been listening to different people who talk about how to follow the moon Sabbath, because I didn't quite understand it. And even reading it, it just wasn't computing in my mind. So I was watching other people break it down. And I've been paying attention to the moon. And what's been bothering me is these harvest moons that we keep having. And it's the summertime. Why? And I think it also has to do with, I've been looking a lot into Islam lately, which I've understood. I found the stuff I was missing. And not to veer off from the video I'm doing here, but like my mind was always like, how could the Ku Klux Klan, right, tell you all these things that they hated? We hate gays, we hate blacks, we hate Jews, and I never heard them say they hate women, but they controlled them, right? And it's like, in our lifetime, we've seen all these things, be manipulated. Black Lives Matter, I mean, we can go back into history and read about the earlier riots in the 1800s and in the 1900s, and that's all swept under the rug. Now it's, you're burning down your own city. So this has happened before. So, but we can see how they were being manipulated. Who was paying their bails and stuff like that? Who was putting this together? The Color Revolution, like in China. You see what's been going on with homosexuality. And if it wasn't for Lex breaking down Daniel, was it 11 and 37? This would have never made sense. This would have never made sense, but now we know who it's for and what it's for and what they're making the path for with all this homosexuality stuff, And then you got right there the Jews and what they're doing in Gaza and stuff like that, right? And it's like, who gave them? And then what was it? The feminists, right? And look at relationships, look at the family structure, look at the home, right? I mean, CNN's doing this whole piece about why relationships are so bad and why dating is so bad. And I'm listening to it, and it was the men's fault. It's the men. And it's like, wait a minute. Right there is the problem. 3 women and a dude are telling you how dating is bad, and it's the men. There's no accountability, for the other side. So no wonder they're going to the West. No wonder a third of the world is supposed to be burned up. But getting back to this. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm finishing my thought with Islam. So one of my last videos I did a year ago, it was like almost a 2-hour long video. And the guy was explaining Islam in really good detail, I thought. And I missed something because it's so long. and I wasn't, my attention span wasn't sticking with it, right? He tells you where this is coming from. He tells you what version of Islam put this all together, right? So I'm going to do a video just on that certain book, in that section of the video where he explains it, so you can see what I'm talking about, because it connects it all. Like where the Freemasons get their steps and rituals, there it is. How it's all connected. So, but that's what I've been dealing off with. But the moon has been being brought up a lot in that, and I'm understanding, that even better. There's a God, or Allah, the moon. He's the moon god, right? And I was always thinking this thing is going to be on the moon, and that's why NASA and them say they won't go back, right? When they talk about there's aliens on the moon that told them don't come back, they're talking about Allah. No. These guys are explaining, no, this thing is here. But what his function is he's supposed to be the one that controls the moon and where it goes and stuff like that. That was his purpose, created to control the moon, that sort of thing. Same thing with the sun. It's supposed to be Allah's wife, right? This goddess or angel, its responsibility is to control the path of the moon or the sun, right? So, but I'll get into that when I get to the video. So, like I said, with these harvest moons all the time, something about it is just not setting well with me in my mind. So when I seen this in this video, I was like, yeah, they got a point. What's this serpent and the moon have to do with each other? All right, so, and then of course, coming out of the egg, right? It made me think about the creation story in Japan, which, like I said, from what I heard, this video is supposed to be about Japan, right? So, but what I've seen, and I haven't seen anyone else bring this up. They keep trying to take it back to the serpent in the garden. What if it has nothing to do with the serpent in the garden? What if this has to do with something else from Asia? What if it was all about this, the Nagas, right? Because it sort of makes sense then in my mind, because I remember when I was listening to some of these Pan-Africans try to explain India, Buddhism, and things like this. And they, I believe it was Anthony L. Elmore was the one who broke down that the Nagas were quote unquote black people, and that didn't sit well with me. I'm like, my conscience is not like I want to hear that, right? And he's pushing it as if this is a good thing, and I'm pushing it as no. If you're part of reptilians, this is a bad thing. What if this is the symbolism they're really aiming for? And I know what you say. Well, then why didn't he turn part serpent and part, still remain part human, as these statues depict? I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking was really going on. This is an homage to them returning, and they're making people comfortable with it. And to me, in my mind, as I'm listening to this, they're making melanated women comfortable with this depiction. So that was my take on it. All right, that's what I think is really going on.